You're listening to Blast Podcasting, Episode 6.
Same bat time, same bat podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blast Podcasting. This is Xander.
And this is Anthony.
And first off, I want to say real quick for all of our listeners, thank you guys so much for all the great follows and listens on our Aquaman review. We've had a lot of good feedback on that. I haven't seen one person complain that we put spoilers in there.
No, not at all. In fact, I've seen more people agree. Not more, but I think everyone can agree with our sentiments on not podcast, but spoilers. Shit, I'm all over the place today. But yeah, I agree with you, man. And I think everyone's with us. Indeed.
Now, you said, before we start the show, you said you had a little talking point, something you wanted to tell me, and I was like, oh, let's save this for the podcast. So what's up?
Okay, so before the podcast, I was playing Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And this week, I got Tales of Vesperia. And I've come to this realization maybe every 6 months about my gaming habits. But I realize as you get older, because I remember 20 years ago, let's go back to 1998, right?
Right.
99. Okay. I was 15. How old were you, Xander?
99. Yeah, I was probably about, I think I was 14. 14, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So you were 14, I was 15. We were around the same age. And remember you get that PlayStation RPG? Because I got tons of PlayStation RPGs. There were Xenogears, then Tales of Destiny came out and such. And you would just pop them and play them for hours and not give a shit, right?
Yeah.
And you would even play those RPGs before school or before you had a doctor's appointment or something, right?
Uh-huh.
Or you hung out with your friends. Now it's different because I got Tales of Vesperia, the definitive edition, which is a JRPG. And I love JRPGs, probably one of my, if not my favorite genre of games. But I wanted to play it this morning, about maybe an hour ago. But I realized I have to record with you, right? Which is awesome.
Damn it.
Okay? Damn it, no. So, but I wanted a game. So what did I do? I play online Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers.
Right.
And I realized that I've done this for the last 8 years or so, especially when I was going to school, that if I have, school to go to, I would play Street Fighter or Tekken or something like that, a fighting game. Or even at one point, Overwatch. So I would play these quick fix games. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I would go days not playing the JRPG because I would like to dedicate at least a good 2 to 4 hours to it.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way, and it's one of the reasons why I haven't played a whole lot of God of War lately. Because I borrowed God of War from my brother-in-law, and it's one of those games like, okay, if I play God of War, I want to play it when I have like dedicated 2 or 3 hours. I can just sit there and play it. Otherwise, I play a lot of retro stuff. I can play a lot of arcadey games, or I've been in a big like Mario Kart fix and stuff like that, kart racers. So yeah, I can definitely agree with your mindset because I'm the same way. I mean, and if anything, sometimes like I feel like I have to be in that vibe, in that mode to play something like a JRPG. It's not something I can just play a little bit and then put down. When I was a kid, it didn't matter, but now it's like I want to dedicate actual time to the game when I get into it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even with something like, in my case, Tales of Vesperia, which I did complete 10 years ago, there's parts of it that now that I'm playing through it that I don't remember.
Right.
And then of course, with this version of the game, it's just got a ton of new content.
Yeah.
For us anyway, maybe not so much for Japan, but because they got the PS3 re-release with all this content already years ago.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. But we got this version, and it's like I not only do I want to savor it, I want to see like, oh, I remember that. Savor the moment of I remember when that happened, as my memory's being refreshed as I go through this journey once again that I haven't done in 10 years.
That's crazy, and yeah, I haven't played that in such a long time. I might get it. I might rebuy it later on down the line. Not right now, because right now I'm gearing up for Resident Evil 2. That's what I'm excited about.
Oh yeah, we got Resident Evil 2. What else? I got to get new Super Mario Brothers Wii U still. I got to get that.
Well, I'll tell you another game that's coming out this month that no one's talking about. that's like niche as shit, and I'm like, okay, well, people need to check this out, and that is Travis Touchdown Returns, the new No More Heroes game.
Oh yeah, that's
It-
coming out, huh?
yeah, it comes out on the 12th, or actually not the 12th. I think it comes out
The
this
18th.
Friday. Yeah, it comes out this Friday, and thing about it is, it's like a $40 game. I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to get that, but at the same time, I really want to get Resident Evil 2. But that's one of those
Yeah.
games I feel like no one even talks about. This is like, come on, man.
Well, dude, there's two really big January releases. You mentioned one. The other one is Kingdom Hearts 3, which I'm not into Kingdom Hearts as I used to be, but
Yeah,
I'm getting it. Well, I'm not really getting it, but my son got a lot of cash back in September. So he
yeah,
bought Spider-Man for PS4 and he pre-ordered KH3 because he is super into Kingdom Hearts. I mean, like he completely 100% of Kingdom Hearts 2 with that
yeah,
PS4 version. So he's getting that. And his mother, where he goes with his mother during the week. She don't have any video game stuff except for
yeah,
PS2, so he leaves all that stuff here. So I'll get to play it eventually. But while I'll have it, there's other stuff I want to tackle.
yeah. Well, speaking of tackling, we definitely get into the meat and potatoes of this episode.
Oh yeah,
Because, we talked about Aquaman last week, and, we were talking like, we talked a little bit about Aquaman. Let's talk about, like, some superhero movies in general. And great timing for that as well, because they just came out with a new trailer of Spider-Man Far From Home. Did you see that trailer yet?
yeah. I wasn't too impressed, but I don't know. I don't like this version of Spider-Man. But you know what's funny? I finally saw. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but I saw Into the Spider-Verse yesterday.
Oh, I still haven't seen it. I need to see that.
And now that's a good Spider-Man. I really like that one a lot. So,
I
but
what I don't like about this Spider-Man is I just don't like the fact that they portray him as just so freaking dumb.
yeah, Peter Parker's not an idiot.
Yeah, I mean
He's
he's a teen. I mean, I get that he's a teenager and stuff like that, and um, the thing about Homecoming and when they showed him in Civil War, he was like. He was such a protege to Tony Stark, and it was just kind of like he was just constantly stupid, like he did dumb things. I
that's
hated
my
that.
problem. That's my problem with the Spider-Man, because if you look at the creation of Spider-Man, Stan Lee said something that is instrumental to that character, right?
Right.
And, okay, so this is what he said. He said that when he hated teenage sidekicks, so why not the teenager becomes the hero? Look what the fucking movies have done.
Yeah.
They've gone against what Stan Lee originally had. Spider-Man's no one's sidekick.
Right. He is. Yeah. I mean, he freaking took care of his aunt. He was after Uncle Ben died. He's got so much responsibility on his shoulders, and that was always the thing that made Spider-Man awesome, was the fact that he had so much going after him and being a superhero and being a teenager, so much stress, and he saved the world. This Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe is just kind of like, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. What's up, Tony Stark? Can I be an Avenger too?
I also think it's a little problematic. Well, okay, on a storytelling thing, I think it's problematic. Not on a visual sense. When Aunt May is played by Marissa Tomei,
Oh yeah.
which on the visual side, let's admit that's good stuff, right? But she's still pretty attractive. But on the other side of things, she's too young. Like even into the Spider-Verse, Aunt May was the old lady.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that.
Well, they did a lot of fucked up things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you ask me. So
Yeah. Which, I mean, let me ask you this before we dive into that, because that's pretty much what this episode is. What is your favorite superhero movie of all time?
I know this is going to get a lot of shit, and I did mention I can't say his name, Kokomo. Did I get it right?
Carcamo, yeah.
Kokomo episode, and he kind of gave me a little shit about it, but I don't care. He's a good guy, but Kokomo is. But this is Man of Steel. Man of Steel is a movie I can rewatch and get something new. And I know some people are like, well, it's really not that smart, and it is that smart. Actually, I would disagree with you. Well, not you, but other people.
Yeah. I think mine would be, of course, is Batman '89, the original Tim Burton Batman. It's not a perfect movie.
Hmm.
I hate that they did the whole, Joker killed Batman's parents. Like
Yeah.
I don't like that what they did with that. But for the time, you know, uh, it was an important movie because it put superheroes up in the forefront other than just like campy Saturday morning cartoons. It had the grit. And I mean, I'm pretty sure you can remember this too. I mean, we were young, but even being young, it threw superhero movies up in the forefront. There were just Batman things everywhere. There was like Batman wallets, Batman this, Batman that. It was such a huge blockbuster movie. Michael Keaton is still one of my favorite Batmans.
Yeah.
I love the Prince soundtrack. I don't care what anyone says. I love the soundtrack that Prince did for it. And most importantly, it portrays my favorite Joker, which is the Jack Nicholson Joker.
Uh-oh,
That's
you're gonna piss some people
I know,
off.
I know.
Oh no.
I
We
mean,
do that on a regular basis on this show, right?
yeah, I mean, like the thing about it is like okay, because that's the elephant in the room with the Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson comparison. I mean, a lot of people talk. No one talks about Jared Leto because we can all collectively agree that Jared Leto was not a great Joker. But
I kind
here's
of liked his Joker, but
the thing about it is like for the movie, Heath Ledger was a good Joker. For the Joker, I don't think he was the best.
right.
And the reason why, and of course, Joker has many incarnations, has many attitudes, different eras, different things. I like Jack Nicholson's Joker because it completely portrayed what the Joker and Batman are for me. Like Batman is dark, and he's a good guy, but he's dark and brooding. Where Joker is, evil with a rotten candy coated outside. That's what I like. It was
Right.
just that yin and yang. And that's what they did in the Burton movie. And I'm like, okay, and that's what they've done in most movies where the Heath Ledger was too psychopath. Like he preached too much, He didn't laugh enough. I don't feel like he had enough jokes. He didn't have to be campy, but I mean like you have Jack Nicholson who had like the buzzer that electrocuted the guy, and then you have Heath Ledger, who pretty much does a snuff film, you know.
Yeah. There is. Yeah, people forget that there is a fucking snuff film in The Dark Knight. There is. There is, and I think you have a point because that Joker is his end plan is way too organized, and Joker is organized but random in a way.
Yeah,
He'll just decide things in the moment. And just to get a little comic booky for a second, the Killing Joke, and this is pretty heavy shit, so I'll be careful how I word this. But what he does to Barbara Gordon is pretty fucked up, if you recall, right? He shoots her,
yeah.
and all that. And there's always been this group of people who say he raped her, and I don't think he did. And I'm not saying rape is something that you should just put aside or anything. I'm just saying that I don't think he did because it would be what's the word?
It wouldn't be something that it was something that he would do in the moment, which that right there epitomizes what the Joker is. The Joker planted that idea for the readers to run off their own side of chaos, if that makes any sense. Because
Yeah,
because you have some people in the camp like, oh, dude, he totally did that. That's really fucked up. And you have some people who are like, maybe he did. Maybe he was just screwing with Gordon's head. But the thing
I
about
think
it
that's
is,
what it was.
yeah, and the thing about it is, there's really no answer. And that's the way
No.
the Joker likes it. That's why the Joker is such a great criminal. That's
Well,
what.
well, his. Oh, go ahead.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Well, his famous quote in that is, "My backstory is multiple choice" or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, which they do a good job of conveying in the Dark Knight. But I like the Dark Knight. I think it's the best of the Nolan films. I think it's
yes,
a great film, and it's a great film. It really is. Like Two-Face was nailed in that movie, unlike Batman Forever. But they didn't. I agree. They didn't get Joker quite right.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It really was the best out of the three. Like it was still a really good movie, and I hate it because when I tell people that I'm not a big fan of the Heath Ledger Joker, a lot of people get really upset about that. And it's nothing against Heath Ledger as a person, as an actor. I think he played the part great. But he was working with the tools that he had, and I don't think it was the best tools, you know. But
Well, I've seen you get flamed for that back in the day. I remember you people would get so mad at you,
oh yeah,
and I never got it because you explained yourself well. And that's the thing, knee jerk reactions. They'll just read a sentence and not read your explanation.
yeah,
They won't. Yeah. So there you go. But I agree. I agree with you about the Heath Ledger Joker. So, and Jack Nicholson Joker's great.
yeah. Oh man, I love this Joker. It was just like it had this sense of humor. He was an asshole. I mean, it was good. I liked it. But I mean, that's
Well,
probably my favorite Batman
well,
movie.
for my favorite Joker is actually the Mark Hamill. I know it's just the
Oh
voice, but
yeah,
still, yeah,
yeah.
that that Joker is great. I mean, they even used him in the Killing Joke adaptation from a few years back, which
Hmm. It was okay. There was a lot of stuff that I couldn't. I didn't really like the whole love interest they threw in there.
I think the problem with that movie is it's two separate movies in one
Yeah,
movie, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
because I'll be honest, the first hour or so with the Batman and Batgirl and the spoilers, yeah, you don't care.
I don't care. I've already seen it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, no, not for you, but for the audience.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
It's been out for a
okay,
while.
yeah. Batman has sex with Batgirl, right?
Right.
And it's this weird thing, and this weird plot with mafios with some crime lord, and then all of a sudden the movie becomes The Killing Joke, and it's pretty much a panel by panel adaptation, which is bizarre because that panel by panel adaptation disregards the first hour
Yeah.
that they try or whatever, the first 40 minutes or however. And
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
What I was going to say was like towards the end of the Killing Joke animated movie, like it was great. Like towards the end, I'm like, this is great. But like the whole beginning of it, where it was like, Batman was pretty much like a fuck boy. Let's be honest here, was just really weird. It was really weird. I'm like,
Yep.
why? I'm like, for one, I don't remember this in the Killing Joke. I read the Killing Joke a long time ago. So I don't remember this. This is what the hell is that? Am I watching the right movie?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I went to a screening of that because I was pumped to see this. And when I went to it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, first 30, 40 minutes or whatever it was. And I felt like I was like, this is not the same movie. And that's the thing, is it's a great adaptation if you cut out the first 30 minutes. And I get it, because The Killing Joke, I get why they tried to add some more context to it, because The Killing Joke is a really quick read if you've never read it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, it's a pretty short story.
Yeah, it is a short story, and it's a good one. It's real quick, and maybe they should have just released it as like a mini movie,
Yeah.
because the when it gets to the straight Killing Joke adaptation, I think the second half, it's great,
Mm-hmm.
and they even nailed the ending perfect.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
so
was really good. I mean, it's always been. I've always enjoyed DC's animated movies. Like their movies have always been good. Like I loved Red Hood,
hmm
Mask of the Phantasm. Classic stuff.
oh man, I love those DC animated films, and if you haven't gotten it, DC Universe is putting up those as they come out. The DC animated films.
Yeah,
The DC. So for those that may not know, I'm talking about the DC Universe streaming service, which is
right.
fucking awesome. I've had it since it came out, and you can go and watch, your favorite Batman movie, Xander, on there,
Nice.
or you could go watch Superman, the Christopher Reeves one, and such. They don't have a couple things though. They don't have the newer stuff, so no Man of Steel, no BVS.
Ah,
And sometimes they'll cycle in the first two Nolan films. It's weird because they never cycle in The Dark Knight Rises, but who cares? Because that movie was a mess. But
yeah.
you want to talk about that for a second?
I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, other than it was like way too long, and I hated the way they did Bane.
Yeah.
I did not like. I mean, I thought Catwoman was okay. I was like, okay, that means she definitely had that Selena Kyle sort of thing with Bruce Wayne. But I mean, it was just like towards the end, you find out Bane was like pretty much made into like a puppet bitch for Ra's al Ghul's daughter. You know,
Yeah,
and I was just kind of like, oh man,
I don't know why they keep, because they did that in Batman and Robin too. He was a mutant henchman for
yeah,
fucking Poison Ivy.
yeah. I
So
was
I
I
don't
was
know.
like, Bane has so much more going for him than just being a henchman or puppet.
To be honest, every adaptation, including Batman the Animated Series, the Bane in there is just a hitman.
Yeah,
And he's smart. He's probably the closest, but he's still a hitman. Bane is a force to reckon with. He has his own henchmen. He has everything that Joker, Ra's al Ghul, and all those other guys have. But I don't get why other media is so. I don't know. They just don't want to touch him.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, he's had like a very, very interesting story too, where there's times that he was kind of a wild card. There's times that he's helped out Batman. There's times that he broke Batman's back.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting, and the fact that he sounds like freaking Sean Connery. I'm like, dude, Bane should have like a Hispanic accent.
Yep. They
Like
did get that right in the animated series.
yeah, I did like that, and they did it right in the Arkham games as well.
Oh yeah, they did. I forgot about that. Yeah, they did get Bane right in the Arkham games. You're right.
But yeah,
You're right.
the whole like hello Batman, that whole bullshit in Dark Knight Rises. I remember I walked out of that and I'm like, that was bad. I was like, that was not a good movie. The ending was just
Xander.
completely retarded.
Yeah, I agree. It was pretty bad. Xander,
What's
Bane
that?
has a question. Would you like some cookies? My friend and I make my best friend. He calls Bane Grandma Bane because of that voice.
I know, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Cookies? Oh, and you know what? Be honest, I'm not a fan of Bale's Batman throat cancer voice.
Yeah, which I mean, he didn't sound bad in Batman Begins. Like I don't know what happened. Like Batman Begins,
Yeah.
I remember watching that and I'm like, man, this Christian Bale guy. I mean, he's right there with Michael Keaton. I'm like, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he came back in Dark Knight, he was like, where are they? Blah, blah, blah. It was like, and it became like a parody at that point, and like they still continued to do it in Dark Knight Rises. You think Nolan would have been like, dude, they're making fun of your voice. Let's just dial this back a little bit. But then again, in Dark Knight Rises, we didn't see Batman until like the last like 30 minutes of the movie. Like,
you know what? You know what Dark Knight Rises is?
what's that?
I call it Batman Jesus.
Yeah,
Because that's what it is. It's the Batman as Jesus story.
yeah,
And I don't see Batman as a Jesus figure. Superman, yeah, but not
Yeah.
Batman.
yeah.
You
It was
know,
just
Yeah, it's just not good. Let's talk about, though, if you don't mind, let's talk about some good DC movies, like Man of Steel. Because I know you like that one.
I like
Not
I,
as much as I do, but you like it.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie. I like the aspects they did with it. I mean, the fact that they made him so like human, and at the same time he knew he wasn't human. Like watching people get killed and not sure if he wanted to save them or not because he didn't want to make things. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched it, but like the tornado scene.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the tornado where he was like debate, like he didn't know if he could like save people or not?
Save his father, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
It's interesting because a lot of people think it's just simply dumb, but there's a lot to say about that scene.
Yeah.
And in that scene, like, here's the thing. I think the Kents in those movies are misunderstood. Like, they think they're bad people, but they're not. It's a different. They're people raising a god, essentially.
Yeah.
What would you do in that situation?
Yeah, because I mean, they care about him and they don't want anything bad to happen to him, but at the same time, they don't know what exactly he's going to grow up to be either. It's and that scene where he was wanting to save his father is like the epitome of what Superman is. A lot of people, they think of Superman as this like, eat your vegetables, kids. Like the golden age of Superman, but they don't think about Superman later on when he started diving more into his personality and realizing that he is an alien. He is not human, and there's times that he's wanted to do things and fit in with humans that he can't do, you know? So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's some stories where I remember. I think it was it Secret Origins or was it Jeff Johns' Brainiac? But in one of those, he plays football and he breaks a kid's arm.
yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I think Man of Steel is a very misunderstood film. I think because people look at the Christopher Reeves version of Superman and they go,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's Superman." And yeah, I think that's sort of a version of Superman, and that's a valid version. There's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
But but how many different versions of Batman have we gotten? That's the difference between I think DC heroes and Marvel heroes. I've always argued, and I think I've told you this years ago. Marvel heroes kind of stay the same in a way
Mm-hmm.
because their continuity is the same, and that's not a criticism. That's just how Marvel characters work. Because Marvel hasn't really changed its continuity; they never really rebooted it.
Right.
Whereas DC has rebooted it, and all their characters, I don't care who it was. There was even a feminist version of Wonder Woman back in the 70s. You know, but all their characters have changed for the times.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's and go ahead. What were you saying, real quick? Because I was about
oh,
to.
I was just gonna say, and I think the movies reflect that. You know, because I know the Christopher Reeves movie is considered a classic, but that was the Superman for its time, and I think that's why Superman Returns, which I kind of like to a degree. It's how can I put it? It did not do as well as people thought because it was a holdover from that old period.
Right.
Because it is, yeah. And Man of Steel was just very polarizing because it was a Superman that the mainstream had not seen, but us comic book readers have.
Right. But
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a good movie. I watched it years ago, a long time
yeah,
ago.
it's a good movie. It's a pretty good movie. Um, all right. So on the DC end, let's go through the the modern movies. Starting with Man of Steel. We know where you stand. What do you think of BVS?
I thought BBS was good. It was long, and I think that's the only thing I have with some of the DC movies. It was some problem that I had with Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was like really long, but I thought BVS wasn't too bad. I love Ben Affleck as Batman. Like he's become one of my favorites, and I've already said my piece with Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's a great Superman. Um, didn't really care for Homeboy playing Lex Luthor. Didn't really care for
Okay.
that. That was kind of weird.
I liked that movie a lot more than you did.
Hmm.
But and I like Eisenberg's Lex Luthor because I guess it's a play on the sort of modern, you know, I guess the Silicon Valley youngster hipster um billionaire like how you have those fuckers like Mark Zuckerberg and all that,
Yeah.
which Jesse Eisenberg did play too, ironically enough.
I just
So
I just didn't like how like quirky he was. I wish he was a little bit more of just like a kind of just an asshole. He was too much like Riddler or Joker-ish, if that makes any
I gotcha.
sense.
For me, it was just someone who was disturbed because he had a fucked up. From what I gathered, it was the Lex Luthor that we know was probably his father,
Yeah.
and this was his son. And I think he develops into that. And say what you will about Justice League, but if you watch the end credits of that scene, Eisenberg does return as Lex Luthor, and it's a more traditional Lex Luthor
Yeah.
than, even though it's like a 2-minute scene, it's more of a traditional one than the one you see in BVS.
Yeah, which I love the end scene to BBS with the Batman brand and all that stuff. Like I love the way they did that.
Oh, it's telling him he's going to go to Arkham. He has a few friends there.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. That was so fucking good.
That was pretty dope. All right, Suicide Squad.
I didn't like it.
It's okay. I don't
I
know what
watched it
to say
once in
about it.
theaters, and if I never see it again, I'm absolutely okay with that.
All right, Wonder Woman.
I thought that was one of the best DC movies.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
It's
It's
really
pretty
good.
heavy. It's actually got a sad ending too,
It does.
which is pretty tragic. But I mean, it's a great film. It's one of the better ones. I agree with you.
Yep.
And Justice League.
I still haven't seen it.
You're not missing much. It's a mess of a film. You could tell two different directors are playing tug of war.
Oh man.
And of course, there's Aquaman. But if you want to know what Xander and I had to say about Aquaman, and you haven't listened to it, listen to last week's episode or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
From this point,
And of course, you went through a DC, and going through the Marvel is just way too much because we're already running short on time. Because there's a lot of Marvel movies.
let's talk about the ones we don't like, the top ones we don't like, and then the top ones we like.
All right, I can already tell you the top ones I don't like.
Okay.
Of course, Iron Man 3, didn't care for that one.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Wasn't a big fan of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? I'm trying to think of what my third one would be, because I really haven't watched a whole lot of the Thor ones. I don't know what it is. I just haven't really watched a whole lot of the Thor Marvel movies. I always skip those for some reason. Not that I hate Thor. Not that I hate Thor, but it's just like I don't really like the way Marvel does with the Thor character. Like he's just
it's comedy.
Yeah, it's too much comedy for me.
I think that's
He's a freaking god of thunder, you know?
I think that's the problem with Marvel films is that it's too much comedy. And it's like you can't really take the characters seriously.
And we said this about the Star Wars when we talked a little bit about Marvel, because, you know, all under the same umbrella of Disney. But
what was that? What the fuck was
that was Mickey Mouse in the background laughing with his millions of dollars. But
billions at this point.
But no, like Marvel has a bad habit of like shoehorning comedy. Like whenever there's something really serious happening, like someone gets almost killed, or you know people are getting murdered left and right. If you notice when you watch a Marvel movie, there's always that moment that after all that shit goes down, something funny happens. And it's happened so much now in so many movies that it's predictable and it's annoying. I don't like it.
And that's the thing with I'll talk about a little bit about it. Into the Spider-Verse, which you should go see.
Yeah.
Okay? It's really fucking good. There's comedy in it. But the comedy makes sense. Because I always made this argument. If you have comedy in an action film, it has to be organic, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's organic to the film. And also, there are some really heavy moments. And when it gets heavy, they don't add any of that unnecessary forced levity that the Marvel films do.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, it's Spider-Man, so I mean, it makes sense to have some comedy, because Spider-Man is always, I mean, he's a teenager. He makes fun of stuff. He's always been one of wisecracking jokes, so yeah, okay, that makes sense. But, you know, when you have, like, the scene that I remember everyone laughed about, when Hulk, like, takes Loki and, like, throws him down, and he's like, puny god, or something like that, and everyone's like, ha, 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 ha. It's like stuff like that. I'm like, okay, did that really have to happen? Which, mind you, if you remember that scene, right before that scene happened, some crazy shit was going down. So it's always predictable. Something happens. Like, I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised we didn't have something funny happen at the end of Infinite War when Thanos, like, pretty much snapped his fingers. You know?
In Avengers, I think that's what started this trend of over use of comedy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it. I know a lot of people still think it is, but I think the first Avengers film is one of the most overrated superhero movies of all time. It's okay, I thought.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I like for what it was. I'm like, wow, it's the Avengers, and seeing all the different personalities of the superheroes get together. I mean, it was really cool. But yeah, I mean, like going back to what I was saying about Infinite War, like, or Infinity War, like I could see Thanos snapping his fingers, and it would go to a clip of like all these people at McDonald's, and half the people at McDonald's goes away, and the guy's like, "Oh, I guess I'm not going to get my fries."
Oh fuck!
Like, that's a total Marvel scene. Like people talk about Michael Bay.
Oh no.
People talk about Michael Bay about his like comedy being like for 12-year-olds. Like I feel like Marvel's comedy is for people that are like, I don't want to sound mean saying that, because that's going to sound really mean. Because I mean I don't think people are stupid laughing at Marvel comedy, but I just think it's just very beneath. You know, it's just like, it's cringy. That's why I just call it cringy.
Because I am a changed man, Xander, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Okay? I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But what I will say is, with the Avengers films, with that first Avengers film, going back to that, do you feel like the first time, because I'll admit, the first time I watched it, was like, oh my God, it was pretty neat. But it's one of those films that the first time you watch it, and then you watch it again, it's like, it's okay. It doesn't have the replay value of other movies. A lot
of Marvel movies suffer from that, though.
And it's funny because I did a little research yesterday just to confirm this, and people are still debating BVS almost 3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
But are they talking about Civil War from the same time frame? No.
Nah. If anything, I mean, like those movies are just like, oh, it was good, and that's it. Which I will say, Winter Soldier is probably one of my favorite Marvel movies.
It is. It's up there. It's out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I will agree with you that is, that's the best one, I think. And I think Iron Man 1 is also up there too, the original Iron Man. And I also think there's also one more, but I can't think of it. Must not be that good then, huh? I don't remember it, but those are my two favorites. Do you agree on those two, or do you have different ones?
I agree, and I would also say that one that really surprised me that I liked more than I thought I was going to like was Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't think I was going to like that one as much as I did, but I did. I haven't seen the second one.
I don't like them. I watched the first one, and I watched it. My son was younger when it came out, and we watched it together, and no bueno, right?
Well, I think what it is Chris Brandt. He's such a one-dimensional actor. Let's be real here.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's a comedy actor.
Yeah,
and it just didn't do it for me. And then I tried to watch the second one, and what's really bizarre about the second one though is there's all these sex and penis jokes within the first 20-30 minutes of it.
Yes,
yeah, and Disney's a family company.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea. So I know we're running out of time, and there's a lot more superhero films to talk about, or comic book movies would be more accurate. So there's stuff like Sin City and Watchmen and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think since we're really short on time, and there's a lot to say about those movies, like we did with Star Wars and like we did with anime, we should do a part 2 down the line.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think part 2, like non-Marvel DC movies, would be a lot of fun. Cause, there's a lot. There's a lot of movies.
Yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, we'll do a part 2 down the line.
Indeed. And, for you guys that are listening, if you have, a favorite Marvel or DC movie, be sure to leave a comment below on the channel. I'd love to hear from you guys. And, we'll be coming back in the next week. We're back to our bi-weekly show schedule and everything. And, definitely. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Blast Podcasting, and we'll be blasting off to the next episode.